And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream, iOshi edition, Wednesday, March 30th. Hope you're doing good. Let's see who's in here already. Really just wanted to cover some charts in the markets today. Kind of a low-key live stream. Looks like it's working. Looks like we have the tech working, so that's good. Let me finish setting up the screen here. I hope that didn't mess everything up. Hold on, let me fix one thing. We'll get going. This is the dollar. Whoops. Cool. All right. How's everybody doing? Who's in here? Who's in here with me? Let's see. All right. Well, let's go over. Let's kind of zoom out. And what I always do is I start to look at equities, right? I want to know how markets are doing in general. What's going on today? Where are they in the structure? Kind of who's in control, right? So let's look at the S&P. Big move up the last week, as we know. Big move up the last couple weeks, and above the 618 to the 702. Now we're putting in a red candle for the day. But really, look at this gap. Look at this gap we have here. Right, so I would not be surprised to see us close this gap. Close the gap down at 40. Was that 45.76? Okay. Yeah, we might come down here to close the gap, or even down here to back to the 618. You know, we've looked at charts time and time again. And oh hey, Q's, glad to have you here. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. But anyways, on the S&P, yeah, bulls definitely in control. Took it off the bottom. Really surprised a lot of people. A lot of people telling everybody else to get out of the market and go to cash down here at the bottom. Not surprising, but I would not be surprised right now to see us come and fill this gap and maybe tag the 618. I guess what I was going to say was we've looked at many charts as they've climbed up through the fib ladder, and they start to bounce around. All right, if you recall, I think it was going back to the March, April, May timeframe. We were looking at a lot of the recoveries, and a lot of the charts would have up to the 702, 618, range here for a little bit, and then more upside. So we'll see what we'll see what happens here. But if I were just to look at a chart, I'm not seeing breakdown yet, right? I'll have to change this line here. So we're not seeing, and this goes for Bitcoin and crypto too. We're not seeing breakdowns yet. Nothing that concerns me. And I mentioned this earlier this week, but I think consolidations and breakdowns are different. So maybe we'll look at some breakdowns. But that's one thing that we'll call it out if we see it, some breakdowns. But yeah, hope you guys are doing good. Hope seeing some green, I think, in the market is nice to see. I know for me, when I scroll the watch list, it's just nice to see green for a change. I mean, and granted, it's been green for a few days. We'll look at that, but it is nice to see green days. And granted, I think we're on day 9 or maybe 8 or 9. We'll look at that. But anyways, for equity markets, we've had a rally off the bottom. You are seeing like a hook in RSI, but you've seen it before. You saw these 2 periods of see the W pattern. Yeah, look at that. Huge. It's a big W too. What I look at is right here. This is what you guys are talking about, right? Big W bottom. I can get it in bigger. But yeah. Yep, in the SPX. Got it. Yeah, look at that. W bottom. M and M tops. If this is an M, I think. I'm sure if I can do M in here. So like that. But yeah, that's what you guys are seeing, and that's what I look for a lot. And we'll just kind of sketch it out. A lot of these bottoms. So if you're coming in here and you make a bottom, a lot of times you do that versus a V bottom, right? So a W bottom on, like, say, break of trend, it a lot of times has, I would think this would be a higher low more often, but doesn't have to be high or low. It can be flat or even a little bit down, just a W bottom. But yes, exactly. That's a big W bottom too. Just a big bottom pattern. But again, if you look at just like we've covered this a lot, right? But look at just the chart. Bullish divergence, break of this wedge. For me, I was long on that green candle right there. Just a breakout. See that? Boom. You're long. On the daily. It's you know, that's a pretty clear signal. That's a pretty clear signal in my book. Long signal right there. I know a lot of people are waiting for MAs and stuff, but or what I saw anyways. But not too concerned about what everybody else is doing. We gotta hone the skills and all that. But yeah, big W bottoms. I see a lot of W's and V's, but and then on tops it's either, I call it M's or A's, right? So on the top it would be like that, and this goes back to what we've talked about being like a higher high and lower RSI, be an M, or sometimes it's an A. You just come up and you spike and you go down. So yeah, equities are looking pretty strong right here. We'll see. Just bulls taking a breather right here. No breakdown in my opinion yet. We do have a little, like I said, a little hook on the S&P RSI, but it's not too concerning yet. Let's look at so that's kind of equities in a nutshell. The one thing that was interesting on the Dow Jones, and we won't look at it, but on the Dow Jones was it passed through the I think, well, S&P has now too. Anyways, I think what was interesting at the time was Dow Jones led the recovery through the 618. I think before the S&P, but anyways, that was a couple days ago. So we're through the 618. Historically, the 618 in equities is a big go no go kind of range. Now we have 702, and we're just kind of flirting around here. So that's what's interesting. If my theory rings true and we do blow off markets, I guess my point would be, if the theory holds true that we do complete that fractal from the Dow Jones, and we do have markets that blow off, this is what it would look like. I guess this is my only point, is that if we are going to have a blow off in markets, this is what it would look like. You'd see this. And I don't think I have the Dow Jones fractal on here anymore. Let's take a look. I haven't looked at that in a little bit. Let's see if the fractal's still on here. From 1929, 1920s. I don't think it's on here. But anyways, you can visualize it. Basically, it did a consolidation, and then it pretty much ran straight up to new all-time highs. And then it had a few more consolidation periods before that. But there we are. See, that was the Dow Jones 618 right there. I guess it was yesterday. So I guess S&P and Dow Jones were about the same. But yeah, moving up. Let's look at Bitcoin now. This is first we'll do the comparison. This is the overlay. All three equities, S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow Jones, are in red, green, and yellow, and then in blue is Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin is catching up. Now, Bitcoin is doing what we kind of expected it to do last week, right? When we were talking about Bitcoin has a lot of catching up to do. Well, it's made some ground. So nice to see that. Nice to see altcoins do what they're doing. Nice to see some of these alts bounce off the bottom. And we're gonna dive in on a couple of the charts to look at. And I think waves, is a great example of what's possible. And so what I wanted to do was, let's break waves down and look at what it looked like as it moved off its bottom, because it's already up to that. I think I shared this in the Telegram, but it's already up to that golden zone from the fall high of last year. So anyways, equities, look, everything's bouncing off the bottom. Nice to see that. Nice to see a nice recovery here in March. My expectation is honestly April's even better, right? So we'll see what happens, but I'm expecting, and I told Bravo this, he's not here with us today, but I told Bravo, I said, I'm going to call it, like, we're up till middle of April. So we'll see what happens. But kind of just said, like, I'm going to make a call. And yeah, we can consolidate, we could do some things, but you know, I think in the grand scheme, I think we go up till April, at least the middle part. So here's what I'm thinking on a couple different paths for kind of grand structure, right? So I have drawn in the two white lines are these support resistance lines. One's that 45.4 level, and the other one is up here at about 52. Right, so the other thing I drew on here was this parallel line channel. So it goes from these points back here, touches that point, and then actually we're right underneath it right now, here. And the other one, this is a parallel line that just cuts the bottom here, cuts a couple wicks off, but you know, really I'm just grabbing about 95% of the data in here, which is a parallel line path. So we're right in between this old support resistance line and this channel. So we're kind of in here. So I just would not be surprised, and we'll look at the hourly data because it looks like Bitcoin's kind of having some green hours here now, but I would not be surprised to see a little bit of a cool down period. Yeah, I just think we're pretty extended. Look, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is our 9th green day in a row. So, even back here, we had 2 red days. Even back in here on this move up, there was a red day there, there's a red day there, right? And then even back here in August, end of July run, we had this cool down period, and then we moved up. And it wasn't just green days only. But how many green days were here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 green days and then a red day. So 9 is about the most I've seen. And I know some people use like a 1 through 9 kind of whatever, but like counting candles for turns and stuff. But you can see it in the chart really. But again, just like S&P, currently in my opinion, no reason to be concerned at this moment. I'm watching for cooldowns and breakdowns and that sort of thing. But right now, we're just not seeing it yet. So when we see it, we'll point it out for sure. But we're not seeing it break down in trend. This is still up and pretty high angle too. We're not seeing a breakdown in RSI. And one note is this is the daily, so RSI has to close for it to put its shape in there. But the RSI earlier today, until we went green on the day, was hooked down below this MA. So it kind of looked like this. It kind of looked like that, where the RSI came down and cut through, which doesn't signal the end either. I'll show you guys. I'll show you some stuff too. But now we went green on the day, and the RSI popped back up, got us some angle, and so we're not seeing it. But I painted out 2 things that, in my mind, I could see as possible, right? And I'm not quite there yet to be like, this is my case, right? This is my base case. But what I could see are a couple things, and or variations on this theme, right? So the blue would be we kind of cross this line from here, we cool down maybe to 45K, maybe blue comes down, we have a cool off for a few days down to 45K, and then we basically range in between these 2 white lines. So the blue is a cool down to 45K, then we range and we might come as high as 52. So it's in that 52, this consolidation period, this sideways period, and I also drew it in the red in this box up here. But it's in this sideways consolidation that I think is where alts really go. I mean, we're already seeing it now, right? We're seeing like Zilliqa 60% today. You're seeing things start to moonshot, and I think that gets really persistent across the board. Once Bitcoin ranges and consolidates for, I think the longer it stays, the more you'll see that kind of action. And so, yeah, there's a case where we have, alts doing well here, even with Bitcoin chopping around. And then if Bitcoin moves back up and chops around more, we could have alts do, the second tier and just keep being hot. So this is March 30th. That goes out to like May 8th. So this, I just drew it, right? I don't know. But this is May 26th, so I'm just kind of on my eye. What looks like it might work is something like this. And so yeah, basically just I'm kind of sitting back waiting and watching for chart breakdowns, but also watching for potential opportunities. For example, if something goes crazy, right? And my love for glimmer, right? Say SHIB went nuts today, tomorrow, for the next 3 days. and just ran straight hot to 10,000 or something crazy, right? And Glimmer's just hanging out around 350 or so, I'd be like, I like a SHIB for Glimmer trade, right? Because I do like Glimmer. And so those are the kind of opportunities I'm looking forward going forward. I'm not looking right now to start selling stuff and exiting. Not yet. Not yet. If we start seeing breakdowns, then I'll consider it, especially on positions that I've moved. But we're just not seeing it yet. Right now, it's kind of enjoy the green, but don't get complacent and don't enjoy it too much, so we forget what our job is, right? So that's these are two paths that I see that are possible. I think I explained it, but basically one is kind of range at this top of this before more downside, and then a final push up to the 618702 box. That's what this box is. It's between the 618702 retrace of this 69 to 33 range. So one is that blue line that kind of ranges here for longer and then finally makes a final push up to 702. But then the red is we kind of cool off now, then we just push up and thrust into it. And then we range sideways for a little bit and then fall out of that, right? So interesting. We'll see. I think, I think, I was explaining this to someone as in terms of, the market itself. If the market is showing signs that we're showing, say, the weekly, we'll look at the weekly chart too, but if we're starting to see breakdowns and, breakdowns in charts in both Bitcoin and alts, perhaps, I may take the position where I'm just going to take what I can get, and it's get what you can get, assuming that this is not end of cycle. And if we cool off and finally push for a final, I want the ability to buy in on the lows on signs of strength. So we'll see that. But I know this is contrary to that. So if alts just go nuts and just crazy fib level action, and we get 3-4 weeks or whatever of just up only craziness, then that to me would be a stronger signal that yes, okay, this cycle to me is over. The top is, I believe the top was in at 69K, and then this was just a big retrace. So we're just watching for that, watching for a couple things. So hope that explains that. Let's just start in. I want to look at a couple of these. So let's take a look at SHIB is okay, 2750. Real quick before we get to waves, what I was watching for right here. See that break and break of the trend line here in this wedge, and I kind of drew it outside so I didn't alert further out, but we did break trend. So we'll look at waves too, but like I was explaining in the Telegram, this is what I'm looking for. So a continuation, you need this to happen. But when this happens, it doesn't necessarily always mean that you're going to have continuation. Hope that helps. But yeah, this is what it looks like, but it doesn't always mean that it's going to continue for sure. All right, so let's look at waves. And let's just kind of, let's open this up and look at what waves look like from its move. And we can look at the daily or 4 hour. But let's start with the daily. I want to show you where this fib is. See, right here. This is what I'm talking about on some of these alts that just go crazy, right? So waves started, it's been going strong for about a month, since late February. Look, it already hit the golden zone up here, right above the 1618. So nice to see that. What I go to is this an example, or is this a fractal, or a good example of what we can expect on some of the other projects or some of the other charts, right? So look at this, interesting. It's off the bottom at about 850. It had, and let's look at bring back RSI, so we have that too. And we'll look more at daily RSI, 4 hour. It just gets noisier as you go down in time, or as you go higher resolution in time. But you have these events, these consolidations and then breaks, and consolidations and breaks. And we just looked at the SHIB break. What you see in, say, the waves chart is these periods of consolidation And a lot of these are bull flags, right? Or pennants, bull flags. So the bull comes up, stops, cools off for a little bit, and then breaks trend and continues up. See how this one didn't quite, see how this one was more of a, it was a push out and then sideways and then a final push up. So sometimes you get that. So when you get out and it doesn't go straight up, it goes, you know, it's out and then it meanders for a little bit and then move up, right? This one went straight up. This one went out, up at 45 degrees, up. I haven't been able to figure out when to expect what, but I know that you do see both. You know, so on these, you know, you just keep seeing these continuation breakouts, and we'll cut the wick on this one, but basically, it's waves is moving up, and it keeps breaking these levels, and it just keeps marching higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. So on the 4 hour, look, this is where it gets a little bit choppy. Let's just go to the daily. Look, the RSI never came back. It didn't even come back to the 50. That's what I thought was interesting here. So we had, this is what I think we need to be on guard for, or careful to, you know, to call out. See, the RSI cooled off here at the top on the daily, right? But, you know, it wasn't, the run wasn't over. So, you know, you had this support held on the bottom, and when we broke it, we went up. We didn't break it and go down, right? So, just stuff that I'm looking for. I don't have a hard and fast like, hey, when this happens, that's going to happen, because you know it normally doesn't follow something like that. But when you do break topside, a lot of times you continue, and then what I would look for here is, you know, a breakdown of price, trend, and structure. So, I think I had it back here. I'm just kind of looking around, trying to find out where I had it. But on this move up, we had an RSI breakdown, but we didn't quite break trend. We're gonna have to continue to watch it, and oh, wicks lead the way. Yes, I agree. A lot of times when, yeah, I watch the low time frame stuff too, and you'll see a wick, and then the price inevitably moves to fill the wick. I see that a lot on lower time frame stuff, like if I'm watching low time frame charts. And but yeah, wicks kind of like, they kind of pave the way, right? So back to waves here. One thing, this is now we're on the hourly chart, but basically what you see is you see these periods of consolidation followed by a breakout of trend. So they stall out. So let's zoom in here a little bit to see what we can see. And then we'll look at fill too, because I know that's what was asked about in the Telegram. But see this? Just breaking this trend down, break up. Let me just zoom in or blow that up. So the downtrend was broken, and then we consolidated sideways for a bit, and then more upside. A lot of times what I like to see is a new high. And I'll show you on my SHIB chart what kind of where I have an alert. But basically, this is, as we know, well, it's confirmed when you pass the old high. But once you do pass the old high, and sometimes even before that, you get moving pretty good, right? So just different things you see. But one thing that I count on, or I rely on, is when I'm doing something like this, like we'll look at Filecoin, but when I'm doing something like this, I'm always on alert for a topside break with an RSI break. So right here on this one, for example, either that or say that, either way. Let's say this section of price coupled with this section of RSI, I want to see price breakout on relatively increasing strength. And so we got it here and here, like on this. So on this candle right here, look how high we were on strength. Look at that. On this candle, we were already way up here at 76. So that was a strong signal. RSI definitely proceeded here with a big pump up on this. See, on this candle that didn't quite, I mean, it closed above it, but it wasn't huge. and then your next candle, your entirety outside the trend, and then you had 3 following candles on higher RSI, but not, it was slowing down, right? So, and then here we went sideways, drifting upwards, even on a dropping RSI. So, at a weaker RSI, price is still consolidating upwards or sideways. This to me isn't the end all be all. That's why I rely on trend breaks and breaks of both price and RSI, right? So when you have both being broken, that's a confirmed signal, right? One or the other doesn't do it for me. I need to have both. So let's look at, for example, Filecoin. That's one we have our eye on right now. Let's go to the 1 hour and just kind of reset the zoom. So this trend right here, I guess this was a different time frame on our side chart. I had the line on it, but basically, like, I would do something like this. Okay, I'm waiting for this to break. I'm waiting for that to break. Boom, we broke out. Now, you know, again, like we just looked at, are we going to go sideways, drift a little bit? But this is the first thing I would look for. And again, this is how continuation looks most of the time. But it doesn't necessarily mean that continuation is going to happen all the time. Hope that makes sense. This is what, and I don't know why, but I had this analogy and I'm thinking, you'll normally see the moon at night, but just because you see the moon doesn't mean it's night. Does that make sense? But basically, like, when you get a continuation, it's going to look like this. But just because you get this doesn't mean you're going to have a continuation. Hope that makes sense. It's a little tricky, but I think it's not too hard. So anyways, that's Filecoin. Yeah, really just glad to be in this here, right, before the nice move up. But again, if we go, and I don't know if maybe we didn't do waves justice by kind of studying it enough. We know it went to the golden zone. We know it stair-stepped its way up there. We know that the last move recently has been one of the biggest moves. And so good. All right. Resetting my screens. Let's look at SHIB, because I think it's doing the same thing. A lot of these charts right now are doing the exact same thing. Moving up off the bottom and moving up out of a consolidation area. Right, so what I'm looking for now is, and this just looks just like Filecoin, right? Consolidated, drop, and now I'm looking for, hey, can we push up? That's why I have my alert here for a new high. Hey, just send me an email or a text when we get, if we break this. Right, because then I know for sure, obviously it starts before you have to break out of consolidation, and then you move up. But that's what it looks like. Let's see what else we want to look at. Oh, I was looking at sushi. Well, really all of these. This is a pretty relatively strong one. It didn't really have a big consolidation like SHIB did, or even Filecoin. On the so like Filecoin, that consolidation. So let's kind of look at some levels for Filecoin. I think we can go to the daily here. So let's say Filecoin does what Waves did. I don't know how much out of the realm of possibilities that is, but let's put a fib on Filecoin and say, look, okay, to the fall high, right? This is September, yep, fall high. Okay, 1 to 0 on Filecoin to there. This would put Filecoin up here at like 200, right here. If Filecoin pulled a Waves, now granted, Waves was a new all-time high, because if you recall, I'm pretty sure, let's look at that real quick. On the daily, yeah, see, that was a high and then a lower high, and then now Waves is at a new all-time high. So, but anyways, where were we here? I lost it, here we go. Okay, so on the daily chart, but even if, so forget that, because it's not the exact same structure, but to the fall high fib would be like 200, which is almost a 10x, right? That's huge. Huge move. But Waves, Waves did it. And, Filecoin did this back here. And, we're seeing bullish potential for a lot of the altcoins, especially as Bitcoin, when Bitcoin goes sideways or cools off from a move. So are we going to see more of this? My guess is, and my expectation is that we see a pretty nice month of April. Is my expectation. Like I said, I told Bravo, I said, look, I'm going to call it, man. It's up only until mid-April. If we were to overrange and say go to the 618 golden zone of this all-time high, that's 400, right? And then even crazier, like 4236. I mean, these levels are just way up there, right? 954 for Filecoin. I mean, I don't know. But if we get up here on this move, and it's like 2 or 3 weeks, say it's sometime into April, then I'm thinking, okay, great time to scrape, take the gift the market gives you, and well, especially on the breakdown, we'll look at that. But on some of these fib levels, take some here, take some there, and I'm good. And if we range here and really blow off and have a full alt season, end of cycle type, and Filecoin does launch up here to one of the higher fibs, again, like I've been saying, I'm gonna let the alts tell me. If alts do a move like that, then I'm gonna say, okay, I feel better that I believe the cycle's over, right? Because if Filecoin even rips up here to the golden zone at like 400, right, which is a 20x, or even higher off the bottom, but if it puts in a huge move like that, and soon, I'm saying, okay, the cycle may not be over, but it's a great time to be to capture that. So that's kind of a look at fibs, and what I've been doing is been looking at fib levels from the fall high and then going to the 1618, taking a look at where that is. SHIB is an interesting cat because its fall high was its all-time high. So I did 1618 higher than that, but I kind of have separate kind of levels in my mind too on SHIB. But let's look at let's see a couple others. The synthetics off the bottom. I've looked at this chart in a long time. But yeah, a lot of these big moves are really just off the bottom. And I would say synthetics passing 740 or so, like this old level right here. Once we break out here and pass this, I think that, it'll move pretty quickly up higher. So let's look at XRP. We haven't looked at this in a few days. So on the chart, and what I'm seeing is we're just not seeing, like we actually see this red candle right in here. The RSI fell, but we didn't really break trend right there. So that's what I'm something again that I'm on the lookout for. Is okay, we got a dip in RSI, but we're still holding trend. So I don't have both, so still bullish. And I think on this, let's so we're printing green candle. Like I've said in this 2 days ago, we had a candle go up to 91.2 cents. I think once we break 92 cents, we can really go. Probably the next level is $1, $2. So, but once we break, this old high, then it opens the door to higher highs. This next level is probably maybe a stopping point, maybe we'll see. But yeah, 92 cents, 102, and then $1.34, and then possibly higher. Excuse me. But yeah, again, you're not really seeing a breakdown in structure of price or RSI. What I would do, and I'm just kind of thinking here, but what I would do is I would just go back to one of these time periods and really study it, and study it on multiple charts too. So like, what am I looking for in a breakdown? What does a breakdown look like? Well, one of the things that I think is very possible is a classic, like you guys pointed out, the M top, or a higher high and lower RSI, then a break. Okay, we did a lot of this work like in Bitcoin, but say you're up here or whatever down here, I'm doing one of these. Okay, all my data is up here on the top side. And then now I have, look what I have. It's a high and a higher high on, this is RSI here, and RSI here is here. So I did get a break, you did get a breakdown between here and here, but this came back up, broke that smaller trend, came back up for a few days to break that before it finally had a breakdown here. So my whole thinking is, what I'll be on the lookout for is one of these, a breakdown. And that's that higher high, this would be a high, this would be a higher high, right, on lower RSI. So lower RSI here, and then a breakdown here. So you had a breakdown here. I'm not sure you do that, all that, but yeah, that to me is when I say, okay, that's a top signal. That's a top signal. It's here, guys, we got it. But until then, you get a lot of things. You can get a lot of things that look like a top, and your RSI may be cooked, and you just keep going up. Just like when you get an RSI that's oversold, and you keep going down. Right? So just because your RSI is in one spot or the other, just because your RSI is overbought or oversold does not mean you immediately turn direction. Right? For me, I look at when we have turns and turns. So trend, break, and break. Right. So yeah, for the market as a whole, we are not seeing a breakdown yet. And let's go back to Bitcoin real quick. And we look at Bitcoin mostly because that's the gauge of the market. And we'll do this one. But yeah, like this right here, same thing that we looked at with XRP. High, higher high, RSI, lower RSI, break and break. That, sell signal right there. Sell signal. Break down. However you want to do it right there. Yeah, even right here. See, look at that. We'll pull it back. Even that, this candle right here. Put a vertical line on it. Look how low the RSI was right here. I mean, granted, this was when the candle closed. Okay. The previous candle, put a vertical line there too so you can kind of eyeball it down. Previous candle was falling off. So look, the RSI was falling. We can kind of use it fine. The RSI had already broken trend before price did, which is why you hear me say RSI precedes so often. Strength fell out, then price fell in the next candle. This is daily, so it's pretty good. And then price fell down, and that was your sell signal to get out of the market. And I'm pretty sure, I'd have to go back and look at the notes, but I'm pretty sure most alts topped right around here. Or it wasn't very much after the alts topped. If you look at what's interesting here, let's just kind of like, now we're kind of just looking at charts if that's cool with you guys. But I will not forget, because let's look back here. This, right? This is different than that, right? Look at this. High, higher high. This came back to a 702. We've looked at that 1,000 times, right? That to there. I'm gonna make it white. Right to the 702. I just don't think I've drawn it right. Look at this. And how did I draw it? Top to first fall, then back up. Well, we're doing this in real time, right? There's a top. Okay, fall, back up. Maybe a 618, pretty close. I'm expecting kind of a bigger push. Okay, here. Nope. This was what got me right here, to be honest. 1st of December. We did not get back to the 702. See how quickly we came back? Let's measure that. Let's check it out. Yeah, me too. Looking at charts is my favorite. I love charts. And honestly, I hadn't first few years really trading. I really didn't know how to analyze a chart. I just looked at kind of price action, whatever, but like I never went back. I never went back into the chart, dug through, and looked at all these kind of intricate details of kind of what happened and what to expect. But that's what they say is that, you know, charts are human behaviors and emotions painted on the screen. And so the reason why we use patterns and such is because human behavior doesn't change, right? Over time, human behaviors don't change. So we can analyze a chart. And that's why we have things like bull pennants and bear pennants and flags and Fibonacci, because charts are human emotions painted on the screen. And they're convictions of buyers and sellers. Anyways, but back here, so we didn't have 702 from here, which was interesting. Expected it. Expected, you know, the final correction to have a retrace back to the 702. We did get one here, and we didn't get one here. And then okay, so we go down further. Won't get a 702. Nope. Not even to the 382 here. Okay. All right. I guess further down, and then we'll get one. Well, nope. That broke. That's what made this correction kind of so miserable, is because we were sitting here waiting for, okay, I think we're gonna move up. If we move up from here, you know, like I remember even in this time period, this was a default breakout. Okay, we're moving up. Okay, I think this is where we get our retracement, right? So at that point, we're like, okay, I think this will move up to 58 to 61. Nope, turned right around and kept going down, 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 down. So here we are again, right? Here we are again. Now we're above the 382. Kind of came back and back tested the 382. Are we going to? Big question is, what is this going to look like if we get a 618.702 retrace, right? Do we just go straight up and then it's done? I'd take it. Honestly, if that were the case, I would just take it. Be like, cool, let's do that. Let's fine. Let's send these altcoins. Let's send these altcoins to the moon, and everything gets super hot. I'll just start running. You know, just the way I drew it would be April 9th, so that'd be first part of April. Maybe that's the way. Or, you know, there's, you know, another scenario where I drew it out, but basically down here, and then a slower, more drawn out kind of retracement. Which one are we gonna get? I don't know. But when I kind of get in that mode of like trying to make predictions or trying to paint these kind of possibilities on the chart, most times what I do is I just go back to, what does the chart say, right? Like what are the signals? Because I get worn down so much by saying like, okay, you know, I think this or I think that, or if I'm day trading, for example, if I start trading what I think or what I feel or what I believe, it's the immediate path to wreckage. If you want to get wrecked, start trading what you think and believe. I promise. You'll let the emotions take over, and then you're going to trade on fear of missing out, on fear of losing money, on fear of leaving money on the table, and on fear of what's the other one? Losing. The 4 fears of trading. You start letting your emotions guide, that's when you get wrecked. Because you're either late to a trade, you're going to chase the entry, you're going to chase the exit, you're going to think it's going to keep going, so you're not going to sell, all those things. So that's why I always just go back to what are the charts say? And what are the signals? What are the setups, right? The charts right now, you know, what I always do is I start with like the weekly. Let's look at that. The weekly chart right now is, look at that, RSI is, let's draw the line there to see if we're up. But RSI is 72, 73. So we're not curled over yet. We're not past that line, but we're not curled over. We're starting to curl, then I'd say, okay, you know, we might have a cool off, and it might be something like that. Or, and this is, I would call more of a correction. So how do you determine that versus that? It's a great question. And I don't have a great answer either. Well, that's why what I do is I say on each of these, say, okay, I think that's the top. I think this is the top. Look, I break down on the weekly. I would break down in RSI, break down in chart, even if I drew it like that or like that. Okay, we broke down in this week, right? No doubt. No doubt we broke down on price trend and RSI trend on this week. Okay, so that would say that's a weekly sell signal. Okay, what do? Well, you keep an eye on it and you say, if we come back and we break this, when we break and break, then, and we probably, what I would do is I'd say, okay, and we have to clear 702, because until we do that, that's the go, no go. So right here, so it's not going to get you in at the bottom and out at the very, very top, but this is the way that I've decided to kind of navigate the market, if you will. And say, look, if we clear the 702, okay, I think we're going to go for more. Then it's condition green for entry, but it got you out here, and it's hard to say at this point. Like if we do the replay, if this is all you have right here, this is your candle. Like, hey guys, watch this. Hey guys, we just did a retracement. We came up here to 618, and now we have a weekly sell signal. Okay, that's a great place to, okay, get out, take profits, whatever you want to call it, take risk off, and then wait. And wait for, okay, we broke down. Okay, now what's going to happen? We do the replay. It goes pretty quick. And then you watch it. You're up. Interesting on replay how it actually fills the candle out. I think how it went through the week. It doesn't just plot. It doesn't just plot the whole candle on one time. Yeah, you can see here in these weeklies that tried to get up there, right? Remember these weeklies that they were full body green candles at one point, right? And full body reds here at 1.2. Anyways, so how do you, at this time, I don't think there's a way to tell whether or not this is going to be a correction or we're turning around. There are some other tricks and tools, Elliott wave, etc. Right? Just like in our correction here, when we were like, I can't find 5 waves in C. I can find ABC, but I can't find 5 in C. So I don't know. This might not be over. Right. So, but again, here we are back down a little bit. RSI is kind of playing around. But again, I think, like I showed you guys, I'm just not surprised for a brief cool-off period here. We've had many, many green days in a row. So, I hope you guys have some questions or something, because I don't really have, what is it, 147? I don't have a whole lot more. Really just waiting for us to show the way and anticipating and hopefully seeing some of these alts do pretty well, right? So now we're on the daily. Let's go back to the hourly. See if Alcoin had a breakout and fake out. Okay, just chop. What does SHIB do? 27.50. Okay, just chopping around up here. Let's see what else. Oh, ZIL. We didn't look at ZIL, or did we? I don't think we did. But another look at this. This is massive. Let's look at the ZIL chart on the weekly so we can zoom out. Look, 2 weeks just took us all the way back to May of last year. So in 2 weeks with pretty much no warning, right? I mean your warning was, hey, just like we did on Falcoin, right? I break that, it'd be a good entry. But you don't know that, hey, because in 2 weeks from now, or less than 2 weeks, because we're 4 days before the end of the week, in less than 2 weeks, this is a 5x too, about. It's like 0.3-ish cents. No, it's a 5x. 3.6 to 17.2. Wow. So this is, we see waves, we see Zilliqa. I don't know if Zilliqa has any special news, whatever. I don't really do news and stuff. I just do charts. But again, look, the 2 weeks here in Zilliqa are better than any of the 2 weeks it's ever had. 26% on that one. Yeah, this week was 150%, and then 61% on top of that. So these are the best 2 weeks ZIL has ever had. And this can happen. This can happen to any of our charts, guys. This can happen to XRP. It can happen to, you know, T-Fuel. It can happen to anything. Pivot ideas. Early runners to late runners. Precious metals. Oh, yeah. Do I have any pivot ideas right now? Not yet. But like I mentioned, Glimmer. So what I would do, let's say I had a big old bag of Zilliqa right now. Here's what I'd do. I'd say, okay. About 618. I mean, knowing it's gone up. I'm already sitting in a 5x. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I agree, man. I think we'll have some nice. I think we'll have some opportunities too. I hope so. This might go really fast, but like for example, if I was sitting in Zilliqa, still, I think I sold my stuff way back when, but I sold it. But if I still had a bunch of Zilliqa, right? I'd say, well, let's see. Zilliqa is way up here, and Glimmer is way down here in the chart. So I would do two things. Watch this. First, I would take. I mean, we inherently know what these charts look like, but let me show you what kind of my process. So this will be, that's weekly. This will, well, let's do dailies, right? Daily and daily. See if I can get it. There we go. Okay, so I think there's a lot more potential for Glimmer than here, and I know that Zilliqa is run a lot, like a 5x from the bottom, right? So move 5x. Okay. Then I start thinking, okay, 5x in the hand. You know, do I want to go from Zilliqa to Glimmer? Or Zilliqa to something else that charts down here that I think has potential, right? Because you have to believe it has potential, or else don't do anything, right? So a lot of people get trapped up here, thinking, you know, holding because they're in love with the feeling of euphoria, because it is amazing and it's great. You know, I've been there too with SHIB, especially. You know, it feels so great. It's running so hard. I think it's going to double again, right? But then you have to stop and think, okay, Zilliqa is an early runner. Is there an opportunity to actually pivot this from Zilliqa to something like Glimmer? And I think I would say, yeah, I think there is. There's definitely a relative opportunity, in my opinion. Now, does this move faster, right? Is there a little bit more room to get this and then over to here? Trying to time that relative movement is pretty tough. To know when things especially on time, it's hard enough to time one itself, right? But trying to time like a pair or kind of which moves first and whatever, it's a really hard task to get with any sort of predictability. But what I would do in my case is, if we get a Zil runner and it's early, and I also see opportunities like this, or I would say even XRP below 90 cents or whatever, anything else that's quasi low in the chart, not up to the grand 618, right? If I have something that's not even to the 236, a pivot from an early runner into a later one, I think might make a lot of sense. I'd do it. I mean, let's look at some of the, like Filecoin, right? Filecoin's way down here. No, I'm not, you know, like, I don't know where this cools off to, but, you know, is this kind of on its way, right? If Filecoin tomorrow or the next day would just started running, and say it did a Zil, right? If Filecoin was up here 0.5, 618, whatever, I'd say, early runner alert. Thank you, Filecoin. Probably going to trade you in for something else. Probably going to trade you in for, oh, I don't know. I'm a Glimmer fanboy now, so I don't have enough. Never got my full desired amount. I could have, but I didn't. Here's Akita. I think that, or maybe the dogs get loose, right? And Akita runs and SHIB runs both, and they lead, right? Because if you look back to October, remember that the Akita SHIB run ended on Halloween, and there are a lot of other stuff that ended in November, right? So there was about a week or two. So if we get, and this isn't a lot of days, but if we get a spike, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm thinking, I'm with you. I think we'll have some nice opportunities to pivot a little. It depends, to me, it depends on the length. If this is maybe a 2 to 3 week window, if we have maybe till the end of April, if we have till the end of April, I think we'll have, obviously, it gives more time, right? So obviously that's a easy thing to say, but I think we'll have more time to move. But yeah, that's why I'm constantly scanning these charts for relativity in the charts and the opportunity. Like for example, if I was in Silica and I like Akita and I think Akita has great potential, right? Like look at, let's look at this. This is just the October high, not even all-time high. We're not even at the 236. Silica's way up here in the 618 of the chart. Is it? I have to go look again. I didn't memorize it. So if Silica is way up there in the chart, but I have something like that I do like Akita. No, I have enough Akita, so I'm good. What if Zil is, yeah, 618, that's right. Okay, Zil is at the 618 of its macro, not even its fall high, of its macro. Zil's already at the 618. Now Akita's up a little bit off the bottom, but not entirely, not terribly. Not even at the 236. You have to believe it's a good trade, and you have to believe the value's there for you to trade a runner for something that hasn't run. Because what you can do sometimes is you can move into something and then it doesn't. It either takes forever, or Silica asks, you know, like Silica doubles again. You know, those kind of things come with that. Those kind of risks come with the trying to capture upside and pivoting. But I'm a very big fan of opportunity pivoting, right? So if I'm in a position that's moved hard, I like to reallocate and move into things that haven't until the music stops. Hope that makes sense. Let's see what else. What were the other ones I liked this week? Let's see. I haven't looked at XLM in forever. I just don't know where it is in the fib. It's got a ways to go. Because I know this fall high was 80 cents, right? No. The March, April, May time was 80 cents. So look, this one's down here. I think this is going to run with XRP. We'll see what happens. But I'm trying to recall, was it Dragon at 5 cents? I think it was Dragon at 5 cents. Digibyte at 2 cents, although Digibyte's just gone crazy since. Dragon at 5 cents. Look how low this is in the chart. That's still low. Still down here. Doesn't mean that it has to run. No, it doesn't mean that. But you know, I like to get stuff when it's down here. I also like stuff that's down here to move up when I'm in it, right? But let's see, Digibyte was last week, either live stream or the weekly coin chart review. What was that? Was it 2 cents? Yeah, I think it was, you know, here. This candle right here was 57%. This candle took off 89 days of red, 89 days of down or sideways. 89 days were erased, and we saw Silica erase weeks and weeks of its chart with 2 weeks. So that, and then let's look again at waves, but I think this is just what, as long as Bitcoin holds up, hangs in there, I think we'll see more of this, right? So, you know, just more of these things just start going parabolic and just straight up. Waves, it's now eclipsed its old high. We did the fib at the golden zone, but yeah, it stair-stepped its way up. So when I look at these, this is the daily chart on waves. A lot of the other coins that we're looking at are somewhere between here and here, somewhere down in there. And if we can delete this, how would I draw that? I think on the fib I'd take this level to that level. Yeah, 236, 382, or even this will raise it up a little bit, I think. No, lower down. Either we're down, a lot of these are down here. All right, so things like waves and Silica, I think, have a nice lead. Let's see how many days Silica is ahead. Not that many. Look. This is the two. This line is the 236. This line right here is the 236. So after the 236 break, now basically it just came right off the bottom and went straight up because that candle was 100% day. So we had 1, 2, 3 days of consolidation, ranging consolidation, and then we had this day. So it happened really fast. I wonder sometimes if, as we get closer to the end, if this is the end of cycle all season, right? A lot of ifs. But if all this stuff starts speeding up, all right, so you'll start to see things rapid fire. It's kind of send. That's kind of my take, my read. See, look, SHIB here, the 236. You just come out of here, move up, do good. But if SHIB launched, even up here somewhere, you know, and then I'm also seeing other charts that are low. I'm like, okay, I want to take some risk here and start moving things around, reallocate. Yeah, I like moving from things that are high to things that are low, but also always one eye on Bitcoin and the cycle, because when the music stops, sometimes you can be so carried away with, I call it distractions, but you're working on either pivoting or whatever. You're studying these charts so much that it's hard to remember what Bitcoin's doing, and that's why we'll be here daily. But it's like, hey guys, you know, this looks like it's breaking down, okay, for A, B, and C reason. And you're like, okay, I look for breakdowns in the charts, and then time to get out. So yeah, we are seeing a little bit more interesting here on the, let's go to the 5-minute chart. Yeah, we just cooled off a little bit. So interesting how we kind of moved up here to 47.7 and then just kind of straight shot down back. So it's kind of ranging here, trying to find direction. It did look like it was moving up and out, back down. Okay. So that's it, guys. I know it's just an hour, but I hope that's cool. Hope that's good with you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Hope I covered the questions. Let me check one last thing on the Telegram. If, nope, nothing there. Well, hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. Really appreciate you being here with me. Makes it better to do something when you have an audience and or people with you along the way. But anyways, we'll see you in the Telegram, or we'll see you next time. And thanks again, and take care.